Ever since Haas joined the grid back in 2016, they have had an up and down history in the sport, with several issues hurting them across the line.
Roman Grosjean that has gone into the barriers there.
They have had years where they've been fighting at the top of the midfield and then going to fight at the back of the grid, getting no points in a season, just like they did in 2021. Haas are the only American team right now, even though their car is mostly made in Italy by Ferrari, but that's another story for another day. Haas has somewhat become a bit of a fan favourite over the past couple of years, and this is mainly down to Gunther Steiner and also the influence of Drive to Survive, as they are featured a lot on the show. 2021 was a throwaway year, as they did not upgrade their car one bit, as they focused on the brand new 2022 regulations, which many thought was risky, but it seemed to work. They had a much better start of the season, but dropped off as the season went on, but it was a step in the right direction for the team. 2023 seems to be a year where they are trying to build on last season, but they hope to be able to keep up their good performances as the season goes on. They have the pace and probably deserve more points, but there are 4 teams who are all fighting for the podiums, meaning that only 2 points positions are up for grabs in most races. But Haas does have a good chance of improving on last season. In today's video, we will talk about how they are having both drivers in Q3 in most races and their pace is mostly good, how they look good in Miami, and how Hulkenberg has proved all the haters wrong, it seems. Let's get straight into it, shall we? To start off with, we are going to talk about the pace that both of the drivers have displayed this season. So far this season in qualifying, the Haas does seem hit and miss, but when it does hit, the car is quick, with it either being with Magnussen or Hulkenberg. They get at least a driver into Q3 in most races, which shows how they have incredible one-lap pace. Sometimes they have one or both of their drivers out in Q1, while the other is towards the front of the grid. As we said, the Haas is quick, but sometimes they get it wrong. But overall, when you watch the practice sessions and in Q1, you always see the Haas close to the Mercedes and Ferraris, for example, which shows a lot really on how far they've come. In the race, however, they do struggle to convert this quick one-lap pace into a point, with them having a number of issues that plague them. Sometimes they're just unlucky with having damage which wasn't their fault, or an untimely safety car which they cannot control, of course, and everyone in Formula 1 has times where they are unlucky, and Haas are no different. However, sometimes they do make mistakes which can cost them, such as strategy errors or not getting the car in the right setup window for the driver. They are prone to make really silly and amateur mistakes, which they do need to cut out of their game. They are still the most recent team to come into Formula 1, with no other teams joining the sport since 2016. They are still very early into their journey when it compares to the likes of Alpine, McLaren, and the teams who are fighting to get into the points. They are not as established as these teams, but as the years go by, they for sure will be able to gain more respect and experience, which is key for the smaller teams like themselves. It is very impressive to see such a small team with legendary teams of the sport like McLaren in such a short space of time. It does show how much hard work they are putting in as they expand and learn year after year. Everyone loves Haas, and we all want them to do well, and this season seems like they're going in the right direction for a fairly new team in a sport that is so hard to do well in. Overall, this season has started off well, but so did 2022. They have to make sure they continue to bring developments to the car so they can stay competitive right to the end of the season, as they have failed to do so before. Are you a big fan of Haas? Where do you think they will finish in the Constructors' Championship this season? Let us know in the comments below. Our next topic is about how good the car looked around the streets of Miami recently. To have an American team race in America will always be special for Haas, and it is something that they will experience 3 times a season now. But this time out, they looked better than ever in the States. They were so close to having Hulkenberg in Q3 alongside Magnussen, but he just missed out. But Magnussen managed to start on the grid in P4, which was great when you look at some of the cars they have managed to beat, like a Red Bull, the Mercedes, a Ferrari. It was a massive achievement for the team. They looked great around the track all weekend, and to start P4 on the grid was very good for the team in Miami. For laps, they held back the Ferrari for laps on laps, and they they only managed to get 1 point as the other drivers came up from further back due to the grid being pretty mixed up, to say the least. To hold back Charles Leclerc in a Ferrari and battling with him was a great watch, to say the least, and it shows how they are able to sometimes keep up and fight with the big boys. It shows how they are taking steps forward year after year as they look to get to the front of the midfield and maybe fight for podiums and wins if the progression continues to improve every season. The race in Miami displayed to all of us that Haas has good pace when everything goes to plan for them, and they could easily be in the midfield battle for the rest of the season if they are able to develop their car and keep up with all of the teams who are around them. I guess we'll have to wait and see in Imola, where a lot of teams are bringing big upgrades, if Haas are able to bring some of their own or keep up with the rest of the pack. Our final topic about Haas in this video is surrounding Nico Hulkenberg and how he has proved all the doubters wrong now. When it was announced that Mick Schumacher would be leaving the team at the end of the 2022 season, people thought it was a silly decision, as Haas knew that they had signed with a young driver and he was always going to make mistakes, but the decision was done by Haas and the two parted ways. People were actually more angry at his replacement being a fellow German, Nico Hulkenberg, who is 35 and has no real room to grow at all. Everyone thought that Nico would be past it and he would not really be able to help the team grow, whilst Mick would only improve every year and become a top talent. Many expected Magnussen to dominate Nico, but this has not been the case at all, and Nico has taken the majority of the points for the team and in qualifying session has been able to keep the car up there a lot into Q3. He probably in fact deserves more points than he currently has, and his performances have been world class and nobody is really talking about it being a poor signing from Haas. He has very much proved to all of the haters wrong and shown that he still has it in him to produce top performances at the age of 35. Nico could have even been on the podium in Australia only if the cars had gone past the first sector after the final and chaotic restart. He has been able to grab points when he can and has truly taken the opportunity in his stride and is performing as he has never left for all of those years. Haas is taking the steps in the right direction with how they run the team, and the car looks to have incredible pace compared to the end of last season. The question is, can they keep up with everyone in the midfield? I guess we'll have to wait and find out soon. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this one.